Awesome. Well, to start things off, I do start with the same boring ass question every time.
It's all good,
Simple
man.
introduction, guys. Who are you? And just a little background on yourselves.
Awesome. I'm Noah. I'm the vocalist of Don't You Dare. I've been singing since shit I can remember, but I just started screaming with this band. So
Awesome.
yeah,
Yeah, and I'm Matt, and I play guitar for Don't You Dare,
Sweet.
and that's what I do.
So yeah. so uh for the people that aren't familiar with you guys yet, pretty young in this
Mhm.
project overall, let's give a
Yeah,
little background on kind of the formation because you guys have one of the cool stories where life just worked out in the right way to come
truly.
together and start making music. So let's dive into that a little bit on how the band formed for this project.
yeah. So Don't You Dare formed officially in September of 2022. Me and Matt met on Bandmix, which is like Tinder for musicians. Um, and We worked in the studio for 2 years. We finally met our manager, Matt Scarpelli, who is the guitarist of Jamie's Elsewhere, just by word of mouth. My barber, who knew his barber, who then invited us out to dinner. We met, and then Matt Scarpelli started nerding out about uh, fucking Dawes and everything. Like our buddy Justin had to
Productions.
tell him to stop. Yeah. But yeah, it started there and it was just like a friendship and we kept bugging Scarpelli, "Hey dude, like let's work on some music together." And he tells us all the time. He was like, "I honestly didn't want to work with you guys. You were annoying as fuck." But
Wore them
eventually,
down, huh?
yeah,
Yeah,
eventually
now
we
he's
got into
stuck
the
with
studio.
us.
Yeah. Eventually he had us in the studio, had us bring a couple of songs, and then um it kind of was just a position he was thrown into. I don't think he initially was like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna manage these kids," but eventually that's what it turned into. So the formation was slow because me and Matt were studio rats for 2 years, just figuring out what our sound was like, figuring out what we wanted to do as musicians. There's
Mhm.
plenty of times where we were like, "Oh yeah, like let's get a drummer, let's get a bassist, and let's play some shows." And for one reason or another, like we just were like, no, this needs to be a two piece, and um, we need to just have our set sound,
Yeah.
and that's what eventually Don't You Dare turned into. We were announced on the Artery Foundation in October 2025. We
You
released
sound
our
like
first single.
Wikipedia.
I mean,
Yeah.
he just wants a
Yeah,
he
the full
just
background, man.
I mean, dude, like
Go ahead.
I'm
No,
just
I'm just kidding. I'm just
you
kidding.
talk shit, bro. Uh,
Go ahead.
Nah, so we released our first single in November, and ever since then, it's been like a great experience playing live shows. Our live members are fucking awesome. Our whole team is awesome. Can't give them
Yeah.
enough props, and honestly, we're just stoked to be in this position. As a kid, like growing up, like I dreamed of being in bands
Hmm.
and dreamed of playing on like a live stage, and I knew like a 9 to 5 job was never for me.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much the foundation of Don't You Dare. I'm sure Matt has his own interpretation, but that's mine.
Yeah.
Well, what's your version of the story, Matt?
You know, I was I was a bedroom producer for the longest time, from like my like time I was like 12 when I got my first guitar to like a few years ago until I met Noah.
Yeah.
And because I'm from a neighboring town, we're from Sacramento, but I'm from a town one town over, a really small town. We didn't have a scene, so I was like, all right, well, what am I gonna do? Like, I have to come out of this bedroom at some point, you know? Because
Yeah.
that came to a point where I was like, okay, I think I'm good enough to where people will like kind of appreciate what I do and I can provide some kind of value somewhere, you
Yeah.
know? So hopped on Bandmix, you know, I got hired as a just a hire on guitar player for like a pretty DIY like little band that plays like little bars and stuff.
Hmm.
And the drummer was like, "Hey man, like I have an old metalcore project that I want to start up." I was like, "Sick, love metalcore, you know."
Yeah.
And he's like, "All right, well we need a singer." And I'm like, "Okay." So we hopped on Bandmix again and found Noah. And um, took a while to meet Noah because we were gonna audition him. but the drummer just always had something else going on. So I was like, all right, came down to like the last time. I was like, all right, well then I'm gonna go. Like I'll vouch. Like we just have to meet this guy.
Right.
Went to Noah's house, and then we just sat down and started writing. Instantly clicked. We're just like instantly friends. Like just like seamless. Like you're not in an interview being interrogated. It's like
Right.
it was supposed to be a tryout, but it was just us shooting the shit and just riffing and just like
Yeah.
and then that's what it turned into. And it's just like seamless. We just like vibed instantly and just started writing stuff that we really liked, and it's a lot of the same taste. So it's just
Yeah.
like that's what it turned into, and that's where we're at.
Yeah. This was before the emo mullets.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hey,
this was before the mullets.
Yeah.
they're working. So
They're working.
My guy.
no, yeah, I think that's a really cool story because obviously there's the flip side of that, right? All the horror stories of things like Band Mix and Craigslist and all
Totally,
these where it's like, oh, we thought we were getting hooked up with
hundred
this really
percent,
cool band, and then it's something really fucking weird.
totally.
Yeah. Don't meet
Yeah,
strangers from the internet, kids.
yeah,
Yeah.
legit, legit.
So yeah, you mentioned, both of you kind of mentioned being kind of studio rats there for a while, developing
Mhm.
the sound. How important was that to you to kind of figure out like this is what we already know, like trying to define your image before you started putting out stuff and then going, oh well, people gravitate to this. Like it's an authenticity piece for you guys,
Totally.
right? Where like it's about what we want, and we wanted to make sure we were where we needed to be.
I
Yeah,
think it's kind of
image
that,
everything,
yeah. I
right?
think it really comes down to like um being super picky over like what we put out. Uh I think me and Matt were definitely like we wanted to have a distinct sound and we wanted to have discography before we even hit the ground running. And I feel like that's eventually what we did, but honestly like just sitting in the studio for hours on end. Me and Matt were bonding. Like, I shit you not, there was probably more times than I can count where it was like 4 a.m. and I was like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? And he was like, dude, lay down a vocal, and we're just banging heads.
Yeah,
And then we would come in the next time and it would just be like fresh slate. But
Yeah.
I think the sound of the music and all that was those hours that me and Matt spent in the studio
totally.
just figuring out how each other worked and how each other wrote. Because I definitely had always dreamed of being in Don't You Dare. I just didn't know what it was yet, and I didn't know what it
That's
sounded
for
like.
sure. That's a good way to
Um,
put it.
yeah, I feel like I said, as a kid, you dream of this stuff, and like I always wondered, like, oh, why I hated like my job, oh, why I hated the people I was around, and it was just because it wasn't fueling my purpose, which my purpose is Don't You Dare.
Yeah.
But to kind of double back, the sound was the most important thing. Like honestly, like me and Matt are just the bow on top. The music and everything else is like what's inside the box, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, like we
Yeah, I think
developed
that's
our
a cool way
sound.
to put it.
Yeah, it was like it wasn't like a conscious decision. Like okay, like I mean, like we kind of knew in the back of our heads, because it's like okay, well if we're gonna stand up, we have to have something that's different. That's just like common sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But a lot of it was just like unconscious, just like Noah said, all the hours, man. We wrote some shitty songs back in the day.
Yeah.
I mean, like they're dope, like they're structured and the choruses and stuff are cool. Like nobody will probably ever hear those, or they might, who knows? But it was like, like it was just like just constantly refining. Every song is supposed to be a step up, and
Yeah.
that was our idea. Like every song has to be a step up, whether it be structurally, melodically, or just like vibe. Like just everyone has to be better. So that was the approach we took, and that's where we're at now. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
I feel like something that Matt didn't touch on is kind of like when me and him were building the sound for Don't You Dare, I really didn't know how to scream properly. So anytime there was screaming in a track, I would blow my voice out every single recording sesh.
yeah.
Um, so we eventually got into the studio with our manager, Matt Scarpelli, and it got to like, oh, this is when I'm going to scream in the track. And I remember doing it, and my manager looked over at me and he was like, you're gonna have to work on that. And
Right.
then what is it? Later that week, I started working with a vocal coach, awesome guy. Um, he taught me how to find my fry scream, and within like 2, 3 weeks, after like practicing day in and day out trying to find it, I finally did it, which it wasn't great. It wasn't perfect. It's still not, but we're still working on it.
You know
Yeah.
what was cool about that approach was, like I remember because you could do it. It was just like you were just tearing your throat up, dude. So it was funny, and then the vocal coach guy was like at the beginning, he's like, listen to your favorite band and try and match it, and he's like, no, I have to find mine. I have to find my
Yeah.
own. I don't want to listen to other bands and like match theirs. Like I have to find mine. So it was that little extended little process, but we got some fucking sick vocals now.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's something, the easy out for a lot of people learning to scream is exactly
Totally.
that. I'm just going to listen
Mm-hmm.
to who I think is close to me or who I like and try to do what they
Totally.
do. But I think there is a lot more science. Like obviously a lot of people as well think that, oh, screaming is just screaming. Like it's the same as when you
Totally.
yell at a dog or whatever, and that's not true.
Not even
no,
close,
There's
dude.
Yeah, there's so much more science behind how screams work from a
Yeah.
musical standpoint. So
yeah,
I think it's cool that I maybe subconsciously kind of recognize that like forcing myself to scream like somebody else isn't necessarily what's right for how my throat is going to work
exactly.
and be able to project. So
And
Yeah,
for our
and one of the
sound,
things,
you
yeah,
know,
and for the
because we're
sound.
we're big on defining our sound. So it's like
mm,
it was kind of that was cool that you did that. It's just
Yeah.
like, nah, I don't like. He's like, man, we have to have like, don't we have to sound like us, man? So
But and it's also to keep from getting lost in the mud, right? Like
yeah,
there's 9 million screaming bands out there now. How do I say
totally,
that I'm separate and different from them?
totally that.
1,000%
Yeah.
hit the nail on the head there.
So let's talk a little bit about influence in general. I think you
Mhm.
guys have defined a really unique sound, and it's cool because I actually sent your songs to a buddy of mine earlier today, and I was like, "There's pieces of so many bands. You can pick up on little hints of so much influence, but it's not
Right,
like you can't look at this music and go." Oh, they're trying to sound like Memphis Mayfire, or they're trying to sound like
right,
Bring Me the Horizon. There's
Yeah,
right.
there's influence, but it's enough to be like, oh, they respect them, but they've developed their own version of it.
Yeah, totally. That
yeah,
was a big part of like learning in our writing. Is learning to what like like just like getting your point across, for even as a writer.
Yeah,
You say because like because sometimes your technical ability isn't quite caught up with your taste, or vice versa.
yeah,
You know, so it's just really nailing that down, and I think that's how we came out with. We're really stoked on how the songs that are out now have come out. And I think it's
exactly.
because we took that extra time like to build a system on finding what we want to portray
Yeah,
and how to sound and just that stuff. So
yeah,
yeah, for sure.
but as far as like influences go, like you said, there are a bunch of influences. Honestly, like my stuff goes back like I love R&B, I love early new metal, I love butt rock, I love metalcore, like I love a little bit of everything. There's something that builds my sound from every single one of those different genres. Be that uh, uh Breaking Benjamin, be that Memphis Mayfire, like you said, be that Bring Me the Horizon, because at the end of the day, we're fans too. We love all these bands and we love watching these bands. But I feel like taking those influences and warping them to your own sound is even more important than like I feel like it just makes a new sound.
Yeah,
And I feel like that's definitely one of those things that me and Matt like have definitely like fine-tuned to our own sound is kind of like, okay, like I really like this sound and I really like what they did here. How can we achieve that and make it our own, you know? Because you can
hmm
take little inspirational bits. Oh, I like how they did this verse. Okay, let's figure something out that's not similar to it, but takes kind of the same influence. It's kind of like
Yeah.
cherry picking like little things that you really like and making them your own at the end of the day. Make a smoothie of that shit.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
little bits at a time is how you come out with
Hmm.
a big new sound. It's
Hmm.
like even guitar. Like when we first met, I was really big on the again like the 5/7/8 riffs. Ba, 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 you know what I mean? Like I love
Yeah.
those to this day. In the triplet, breakdowns like that. Like those are still
Yeah.
cool, but it's like you look at that as a whole in a song context, and you say, I like that, but like what is it that I like about it? And then when you're doing your own thing with that, you come up with something that's a little bit unique, and you go and you point at it and be like that, and then that little sliver carries itself through all of your stuff, and then it's like telephone,
Yeah.
it starts at one way at the end, and then at the other it turns into something completely different, but it's with that same DNA. It's just like stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and we did that a lot, like Noah vocally, me writing wise, production wise, and I think that's how we sound the way we do now. It's just really
I think it's kind of
carrying.
also that point that we made earlier was like, oh yeah, like this may work for other bands, but it's not us.
Right.
Totally.
The same way I learned how to scream is the same way I look at like when we're writing. Okay, that may have worked for them, but how do we make that particular thing like mesh and work with everything else in a song, like be that a specific structure. I remember early on when we were writing, Matt would be like, "Oh, I love how this song is structured." And he would write a completely new song with that structure, but it never worked. And I was like, "Okay,
Yeah.
I love what he's thinking there, but how do we make that work?" You know?
Totally.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Um, Within that, I think you guys can speak to this, but like, do you think that maybe is a common like trap that a lot of young bands, or when you're feeling out other musicians and stuff, that they fall into, where it's like, oh, we're gonna get together, but we're just gonna play covers instead of trying to write your own unique stuff and see how it fits together. Because like, especially from like a guitarist standpoint, right, Matt? Like, you can be technically good enough to be playing a Bring Me song or a Blink
Yeah,
182
totally.
song, but if you don't have the emotion and can kind of flex on it, you're
Yeah.
not really doing anything. So do you think that was important in helping define that sound too?
Oh,
That like
dude,
it's
it was
not.
so important. It's
Yeah.
so important to develop your own taste. To be able to sit with yourself and really pick out what you like and expand on it is everything, dude.
Yeah.
So I guess it could be a trap. I mean, we're still a young band, so like
Right.
I mean like we don't play covers. We play our own stuff, but I think, I mean our manager says this all the time. He's like he goes it's like if you guys like sit down and decide you want to write a Bring Me song, he's like,
Mm-hmm.
just know that your ceiling is capped because Bring Me exists, and nobody
Right.
will ever be as sick or as big or do it as better as Bring Me.
Mm.
So we take that mentality, So it's
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah, and to
for
kind of
sure.
get on what you were saying, like, is that like a trap? I don't feel like it's a trap, but I feel like a lot of musicians,
It's
and
an
a lot of,
easy out for
yeah,
sure.
um, but I also feel like it's easy. I wouldn't say it's easy to be a musician, but it's 10 times harder to be a good songwriter.
Oh
10
Yeah.
times harder.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
for sure.
and one of the things that me and Matt have like agreed on is it's super hard to write simple good, but really easy to write technical, not bad, but technical,
Right.
like technical stuff. So like it's super easy to write like, oh, like all these things that sound sick, but there's not like a structure behind it. There's no purpose behind it, but it's super hard to write something simple, catchy, and like raw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Math rock exists for a reason, right?
For
A
Like,
sure.
1000%. Math rock, music for musicians.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I don't know. I don't enjoy it myself. So
It's all good.
um let's dive down the rabbit hole of working with someone that
Hmm.
has been not only in the scene for as long as he has, but as
Hmm.
influentially in the scene as he has.
Our manager
Yeah,
Scarpelli.
yeah.
Yeah. So honestly, like when we met him, like it didn't immediately click with me because when I think Jamie's Elsewhere, I think Aaron Pauley.
Hmm.
But as soon as our buddy Justin told us, like, oh yeah, like that's Matt Scarpelli, he's in Cemetery Sun and Jamie's Elsewhere, I was like, oh shit. And then like um when we started working with him, it was like he just holds us to such a high standard. I feel like he knew what Don't You Dare was before Don't You Dare did. And he knew like what our potential was, especially when we first went in and started working with him, because I feel like it's super hard to find people that are as dedicated as Don't You Dare was even before it was an entity.
Right.
Um, like business stuff aside, it's hard as fuck to find musicians that are dedicated to their craft and dedicated to bettering themselves. A lot of people in the music industry, um, they like to say, "Oh yeah, I'm a musician," but they may be a hobbyist. Where
Right.
that's not a bad thing. I'm not saying that to like, oh, like take jabs at anyone, but I'm just saying like it's a hard industry to succeed in, and if you don't have goals, if you don't have like all these little things set up for success, like the team behind us is fucking insane. We love them all to death.
Yeah,
But
they're
just
awesome.
yeah, honestly, everyone at the Artery Foundation, our videographer, our bandmates, our live bandmates, they're all
Hmm.
amazing, and I wouldn't replace them for the world. But when it comes down to just the importance of having that vision and that direction from our manager, um, helping us not get stuck in loops, helping us not sit on a part for too long, helping us just flush out a song and giving us kind of being that lighthouse in the chaos, you know,
Totally.
because in a writing in just the studio when you're writing out these songs, it's so easy to turn it into a hurricane. Oh, this would be sick. Oh, that would be sick. But he definitely has been that kind of guiding light. Okay, like you guys have these dope ideas. Let's follow this direction. Let's keep
Yeah.
our heads on straight. Let's write this out.
And it's like, with someone like Matt, dude, he's one of those guys who's actually been there, done that, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, and he's a rock star, dude. Like he's done the tours, he's been in the big rooms, and he's been on the big production and stuff. And it's like, when you're on step 1 and he's on step 20, there's a
Right.
lot of stuff that he knows is going to happen or going to happen or mistakes we're going to make or and so it's like, and he's really good about being like, hey man, like next step is this and this is like what I think we should do, kind of stuff. So it's like,
Hmm.
we've like definitely like come out pretty unscathed in places that we probably shouldn't have because of him, you know
Yeah,
like he got us really good to go on like the live stuff. It's just like because he's like a fucking superstar performer also, and
Right.
not a lot of managers can say that. So, like he helps us with like stuff like that and just like being a show person, just like how to get like, helps us engage with the crowd, like even music videos, some um like the last music video we did, there's some BTS shots, those will probably come out where like he's literally coaching me and our bass player what he thinks we should do. He's like, dude,
Yeah.
like in if you watch Black and Blue, um, during the breakdown, like we're in the subway. I have my
Yeah.
foot up on one of the seats, and then our bass player has it up on the other. That was totally mad idea. He's like, dude, and then you have to headbang sync it, dude. He's like, we're gonna MySpace it, dude. It looks so sick. I was like,
yeah,
sure, and it turned out awesome. It's just stuff like that. That's the privilege that we get with working with somebody like that. So
yeah. Like Matt said, he's been there, done that, and his experience, what he wishes someone would have done for him is what he's kind of bestowing on us, which
totally.
that's invaluable. And I feel like it definitely helps us when it comes to like any speed bumps that may have came. Like honestly, Don't You Dare may have eventually like would have eventually came to be, but it probably would have been a lot longer of a process. And just all the connections that he has in the music scene is insane. Um, and it's just been super beneficial to us as far as just just getting Don't You Dare off the ground. Um, One of the biggest things, with that being said, to kind of like take the fairy tale out of it, like, oh
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like this is like it's crazy like where Don't You Dare is now in such a short time. um, Networking is super important, and just brushing the shoulders and talking to someone could be the difference between you meeting someone like Matt Scarpelli and you not. So my biggest like thing to tell kids that are making music now is talk to everyone and be passionate.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's crazy what can happen if you're just a cool guy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I know so many guys who are like the most like who make me feel insecure. Like
Mm-hmm.
because their talent is just so insane, but nobody likes being around them, so they get nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, that you put that into perspective too, So
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
crazy.
that's something. So I do concert photography as well. And that's something I've told a lot of photographers is like, make friends with security, make friends with the lighting directors,
Totally.
things like that. Cause like eventually those people are going to open doors for you that you didn't even know they
100%,
had
dude.
access to.
Exactly. Exactly.
100%. It's rock music too, Like,
Yeah.
sometimes being in somebody's living room is more important than being in somebody's office.
For
Exactly.
sure.
You know?
And that's kind of like how we got set up with the Artery Foundation. Eric Rushing and Matt Scarpelli had like a really good working relationship. And Eric was like, dude, I can't find any fucking bands, this, that, and the other. And his assistant called Scarpelli up and he was like, hey, dude, like, here's this band I've been working with. And we had the whole package.
Yeah.
We had everything. We just hadn't released any music. And Eric really took a gamble on us. He was like, either this band's going to flop or this band's going to be like, is going to be the band with Artery. And honestly, like, kudos to Eric for gambling with us and Scarpelli for um, really putting up with us.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Legit.
And that is the crazy thing. Cause again, like we just said, you don't know who has. So, oh, that was weird.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
Yep. Hang on.
all good.
I'm halfway here. I don't know why it just killed my video camera.
What the
There
There
we
you
go.
go.
That was,
hell?
I don't know. Like, yeah, weird. Anyway, so yeah, saying, you don't know who opens what door. Like, obviously, Scarpelli's been in the industry for so long that we know there's going to be some sort of connections. But like, I've heard so many stories doing this podcast and doing the photography and things like that, that like, yeah, I was literally just, like you said, Matt, sitting in a living room with somebody and they were like, well, let me text somebody for you.
Yeah,
10 minutes later, we've got a meeting with a record label or whoever. And it's like,
totally.
Exactly.
you just don't know
Exactly.
what they have. So, um, let's dive into you've talked about the Artery Foundation. They're an incredible label. Talk
Fucking
about
awesome.
how awesome they are, not just as a blowing smoke up their asses thing, but like they're definitely a label that feels like when they do especially take a gamble on someone like you, they say, not only do we believe in you, we want you to be you. We're not going to change
Totally,
what you
dude.
are.
Yeah.
Totally. You know?
Honestly, like Eric has developed some of the greatest bands in the metalcore scene.
Legit. Our
Uh,
entire playlist is Eric. You know what I mean? You know? So it's like, it's just like they like, man, they're really conscious that we're artists,
Yeah.
and they really foster that, and that's the coolest thing ever. And it's like you feel like you're a part of music with them too, It's like, because you hear horror stories about being backed up with this or doing this non-musical stuff or whatever, but it's like, man, it's like we're actually friends with these people. We can come in and out of the office however we want, and it's just like everybody's super cool and like it's super awesome, dude. And they're
yeah.
super professional.
Yeah.
Like, it's like they're like it's like that. Like I said this already. I was like, it's like the perfect like middle. It's like we can vibe because we're all friends, but then it's like when it's game time and we have something to do, we can all just like lock in together and really steam forward, and that's like really reassuring. It's really It's perfect. It's
Yeah,
perfect, man.
it's totally like a family there. We definitely like Eric's been such a like I love that dude. He's awesome. Everyone in the office is amazing. It's not like um I don't know. I feel like some of the bigger labels you may be over here like, oh, like scared to talk to your boss because
Mm-hmm.
that's like your
Yeah,
boss. But like when Eric says something, we always take it as what it is because he's not going to sugarcoat anything.
totally.
He's not going to dangle a carrot in front of your face. He's going to tell you how it is. He's going to tell you where you're fucking up and how you can improve it.
Yeah.
Um, Same thing with our manager. Like he does the exact same with us. And
Yeah,
from the day we met him, he's been upfront. And that's something like that honesty. I will never take that for granted.
totally.
Yeah. Well, and it's something I've said to a lot of artists, and a lot of artists have said it as well, where like finding someone that believes in the project is so much more important than necessarily the size of that person.
Hmm.
Because
Totally.
it's really easy to find people that'll put their hand out and ask you for money, claiming they can do things. But to
Totally.
have someone that's like, no, here's what I can do. I'm going to show you that. I'm going to be with you on it. Like, you know,
100%.
obviously, you hope that the major labels aren't fucking everybody, but they're fucking a lot of people if we're being honest about it.
Totally.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you don't want like to just get lost in the shuffle with a
100%.
major label. And then like I
100%.
think, with someone like the Artery Foundation and some of these others, I think there's a little more grace period as well where like, okay, that track didn't hit. It's not the end of the world. Like we know what we need to do to fix that.
Yeah, it's like there's problem solving mode right away, It's like,
Yeah.
get caught up in the little shit. It's like, all right, what's our goal? Like, why are we all here? This is just how it goes. Let's recalibrate and, like re-optimize and let's hit it again, It's like it's that kind of
Yeah.
stuff, Because, like we get a lot of wisdom from Scarpelli, man. Like, and one of the many things that he says that rings true is he says, you know what, man, it doesn't really matter where you're at. It matters who's championing you where you're at. It's where it
Mm-hmm.
counts. If say, you're at Warner or Bros or something, you're or something, and like you say, you just shuffling. You're just kind of like lost in the fog of everybody else that's there. But if you have somebody who really believes in your shit and really championing you and sticking up for you, that's
Yeah,
that's where shit starts to happen. So
for sure.
you know,
Let's dive into the live band. You guys have kind of touched on that as well.
yeah,
um the importance of, and maybe this goes back to what you said earlier, Noah, about like some people are hobbyists and so they're okay with just writing songs and putting them up on Spotify or whatever, but there's something different about, I want to go play live music, I want to be out
totally.
in the world. How important, I know the answer to this, but how important was that when you're searching for potential touring photographer or touring artists with you, and that live band, that guys, this isn't just we're gonna hang out, like we're making moves for this to work.
Yeah.
You know,
So when it comes to like the live band and everything, one of the biggest things was like, oh, you're gonna be in a tour bus with these guys for weeks on end. Like, are you guys homies or is this just
Is it a
kind of
paycheck?
exactly? If it's a
totally.
paycheck, people are gonna treat you 10 times differently than if it's like their passion. And we got lucky enough to find two people who are super passionate about this and they want to do it as a career as well. Um, and honestly, Matt actually met the bassist when we first started Don't You Dare before it was Don't You Dare. Funny story. Like I thought this dude was going to leave working with me because a more established band had hit him up and they were like, "Oh, dude, do you want to play guitar for us?" And he went to a practice with them. He kind of showed off. He showed what he does with his fingers, and um, they thought he was sick. So I was over here nervous as fuck. I was like, dude, like, oh my God, he's gonna leave this project. I'm never gonna play music again.
We just
And
got started, what's happening?
exactly.
Legit.
And I think that was kind of what made me nervous about it. But fucking 2.5 years later, Don't You Dare is signed. We're playing our first show, and the bassist of that band is now our live bassist. And the drummer that eventually would join that band is now our drummer live. Yeah.
It
Nice.
see, because here's what it comes down to, dude. Is you have to be friends, or you're not gonna
Yeah.
last with them. Like I don't like that's one thing is we don't care. Like you could be the shreddiest drummer of all time. You could be Joey Jordison, but if you're an asshole, or we don't think our jokes are funny, like we can't like sit down and just hang out and enjoy each other's company for days and days and days, then there's no point. You
Yeah.
have to be friends with these people, and that's why I think we were super fortunate. We're already fortunate finding each other, but then finding other people who we can just sit and hang out with and who like respond to like a professional pace really well
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
like super hard, especially in music. And we're just lucky enough to find them. We're all just friends too. You know,
Yeah.
like before everything, we're friends. And keeping that in mind and just holding on to that and like nurturing that is really important to a healthy band. You know, so
Yeah. Well, and I think it breeds the comfort to be able to say like, hey man, that wasn't your best show. Like, what if we did this or
totally,
whatever?
you know.
And there's no hard feelings. It's like, okay, you're trying to help me get better too. Like, let's
100%,
let's go on that.
and even that, dude, like when you're hanging out with somebody for that, like when you're with them all the time, 24 hours a day, you're gonna have your shitty moments,
Yeah.
like, you're gonna have a bad attitude, you're gonna have a good attitude, you're gonna be sad, you're gonna, all the every human emotion you're gonna feel around these people, and they're gonna respond to it. So it's finding those kind of people that you can do that with, and not hold grudges, because you know how it goes, man. You're just around, your people all the time. It's just like, you're like, fuck you,
Yeah.
get away from me, bro. But
Yeah.
then it's just that. That's why it's really important to develop your relationship with your guys, man.
Yeah. And especially again, when you're on tour, multiple weeks at a time,
Totally.
very few days off. And then like on those few days off, it's like, okay, well, do I want to spend another 24 hours with this person or
Yup.
let's go find
Yeah.
something else to do?
Totally.
Yeah.
You know.
Honestly, it's a relationship at the end of the day. Like,
Yeah.
Totally.
it may not be a romantic one, but at the end of the day, it is a relationship. You have to treat it as such. And like I said before, we got fortunate enough to find people that are like-minded, that have the same values as us, and like are passionate about Don't You Dare and the music that we put out, as well as the image. Um, and I can say I can sit in a fucking van with them for 16 hours and not give a fuck and shoot the shit with
Right.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, honestly, the way touring is, like, you're also kind of putting your life in their hands to some extent between
Yup.
sharing driving and things like that.
Yeah.
Like the tire blowouts in Denver because nobody
Totally.
knows how to route and you're in there in the
Yup.
winter. Like
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
it's insane.
You know.
But I think
Yeah.
that's it, it's something that I think often gets overlooked. People are like, "Oh, well, I'm good with them while we do band practice and whatever." And like, okay, cool. You're good with them for a 3-4 hour window, but like now make that a 24-hour day across
Totally.
a 30-day tour. Are you really
Yeah.
that
Totally.
good? You know?
And then the other stuff
1,000%.
too, like and then that's just the social part.
Right.
And then we have the business end. Okay, we're like,
Yeah.
okay, we're out of money, guys.
Yeah.
We
What are
got
we
a
gonna do?
dollar in the band account. How are
Yeah,
we
we got
filling the gas tank?
yeah, legit. Like, you know
Yeah.
what I mean, and stuff like that. And it's like, well, all right, people.
I haven't
You,
ate in 2 days. Can I
yeah,
get your top ramen?
yeah. Please let me have a bite of your top ramen. You know what I mean? It's like, all right, we're not gonna get paid this run, dude. Like, this is we're coming home with momentum.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then it's just like that kind of stuff. And then people are like you said, they're taking times out of their lives. We all have jobs and do stuff like that. So it's just
Yeah.
you know people take their lives on the road with them too sometimes. So it's like it's
Mhm.
responding to that and just being comfortable with each other and just realizing the bigger picture is really
Yeah.
important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And I think, with all of that, like building towards a bigger goal. The obviously the goals, headlining tours, world tours,
Totally.
all of that, becoming
Hmm.
kind of that household name. And that's a whole different level of stress on friendships because
Yeah.
that commitment just keeps growing and growing. And if they
Yeah.
at
Totally.
some point look at it and go, maybe this isn't for me, or this is more of a
Totally.
commitment than I can offer,
Hmm.
the importance of being able to respect them and make those decisions together and go,
Totally.
okay, well, if you need to
Totally.
step off, then step off, but this is what we'll do.
Totally.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Let's talk about a little bit about that dirty side of the business, right? The
Okay.
not fun part, right?
All right.
The bank accounts and all of that.
Yeah.
How expensive it really is to get a band started, to try to build momentum. People don't understand, like, oh, you can use DistroKid for free and you can get on Spotify for free. And
Totally. Everything is
sure,
nuanced.
yeah, but
Yeah.
there's so much
There's,
more to it.
dude,
Yeah. Oh my
man,
God. Don't even get me started on the financial
man.
aspect. You have
Like,
to be willing to sacrifice so much to
yeah.
be um even to just start a band. Business side aside, like fuck, dude. I want to say like even before we got off the ground, we were made shit like 10 grand, 10 grand in the hole.
Yeah,
Um
And we're a
something
two
around there.
piece, by the way.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like holding on to your brand for dear life
Hmm.
while you're looking at the negative
Yeah,
fucking amount. You're
honestly,
going, ooh,
it's the
boo.
yeah, dude, honestly, it's the willingness to work for it. Even now, like me, for example, I work two jobs. I double fucking 4 days out of the week. So like, yeah, I'm tired, but at the end of the day, like I know what I'm working towards is something bigger than me.
Totally.
Right.
and and that's the sacrifice that you have to make, honestly, if it's time, if it's financial security, whatever it may be for the person, there is going to be sacrifice.
Yeah.
um some people it may be less than others. We're a two-piece, so it definitely weighs on us a little bit more because a band that's four people gets to split it four ways, the
Right.
band that's two people gets to split it two. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know what, man? It's like the light at the end of that tunnel is worth every bit of it.
yeah,
You
a
know what I
thousand
mean?
percent.
So,
We
Yeah.
wouldn't be doing this if we didn't believe in it.
yeah, you
No,
just got to be kind of smart with it, too.
I've said that before too, that like if people think that artists get into the business, especially in this type of genre, like anything that's not top 40 pop, if you think anybody got in this business to make money, you're fucking wrong because it
Oh,
ain't there.
legit. Yeah, you're cooked. If you're in it for to make money right now, you're fucked. You
Yeah.
know, like if you think you're gonna make money with you think you're Ed Sheeran, dude, fuck, I hate to break it to you. You know,
Right.
it's gonna be rough. Like it might happen, but it's gonna be a rough one. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about one of the financial burdens that people don't think about, or like maybe gets written off too easily, is the
Mhm.
gear and whatnot. Because like now,
Totally.
like you said, you're a two piece. We have to buy all the gear ourselves. We have to make sure that we've got everything ready to go for a live show. There's no, there are production companies out there, but like there's not really a production company that is going to be, hey, we're going to do this set design for you. We'll rent you this equipment, like whatever. You guys are coming up with all that,
Mhm.
spending the money to build it. What's that process like for you, especially because I feel like you're in that stage right now where it's like we're putting everything together to figure out
Yeah,
that live show.
totally. You know,
Yeah.
it's just like you have to be smart. You have to really think about what makes sense in this moment, what's essential, and what can you actually control right now.
Yeah.
You know, like like you know, we've only played 4 shows as a band. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so like we're starting to get offers in other places, which is awesome. But it's like we're gonna have to strip it down pretty hard. Like what are the
Mm-hmm.
essentials? Well, like okay, well our live rig is pretty badass. We had to make that badass. That hurt, but we had to
Yeah.
make it badass. And like we can't afford to lug cabs and heads around. So we use amp modelers. Like
Mm-hmm.
literally my entire live setup can fit in about like two shoe boxes. You know, like
Yeah.
that's what it's just stuff like that because that means there's space in the van.
Yeah.
And stuff like
Yeah.
that. And, like we'd like to have a sound engineer. We were fortunate enough to have a sound engineer a couple times who was awesome,
Yeah.
but we can't do that all the time,
Hmm.
and
It's
then it's
another
like,
mouth to
okay,
feed. It's another
yeah,
paycheck. It's
yeah, and it also forces you to really like hone in on your strengths,
Hmm.
like what's like production wise, we don't have any little lights. We'd love to. We don't have
Mhm.
any smoke cannons. Would love those for sure. Pyro would love that. Don't have that. But it's like, what can we control? We can control ourselves. So that's why we spend a
Yeah.
lot of time in the rehearsal room, to, you know, make up for all that, you know. So it's like,
Yeah.
and then, at the end of the day, it's like, we don't, if you're really that dope, you don't really need any of that. And if you're really that dope, those will come along. So
Yeah.
it's
For
just being
sure.
okay with where you're at and being patient. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
Awesome.
To kind of go back on that, as far as like the live rig and everything, that's one of those like things that Scarpelli definitely helped us with.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Without his connections and without his know-how of what a professional live rig looks like and what it entails, we would have went into that completely blind.
Yeah, we
And
were
that's
totally
one of
ready to go
those
out
things.
there fucking acoustic, dude.
Yeah,
What I
pretty
With a
mean?
much,
MacBook
dude.
and a prayer.
Legit.
Bro, we were about to go out there with a fucking cajon, dog. About,
Straight up.
but
Yeah.
nah, yeah, but that's one of those things like someone who knows people in the industry that knows how to build those and
Hmm.
what are places you don't want to cheap out on. Because I can be the first one to tell you that a cheap pair of in-ears are going to constantly cut out. They're going to make you even more off time live than say something that's maybe what, like $500 more.
Oh
So
yeah.
that's one of those things we definitely didn't want to cheap out on and to kind of future proof DYD.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. So
So, as we work towards the end here, you've got a couple songs out. You're working on the live show, getting all that set up. What does, without getting in trouble with Scarpelli, the label, or anybody else, what does 2026 look like for you? And then, kind of to tag on to that, like, what does a successful 2026 look like for you guys?
oh,
Um, I mean, lots of new music,
lots of new
honestly.
music,
Yeah, we got a
lots of good
lot.
shows,
Yeah, we got
good
a lot in the
shows.
pipeline. A lot of stuff we can't talk about, but we'll
Mm-hmm.
definitely be touring a lot. We'll definitely be um, releasing as much as we can, or
Yeah.
uh, as much as we want.
Yeah.
Hitting the road guaranteed 2026
Yeah, yeah.
for sure.
But a perfect 2026. Me personally, I want to play my first festival. That's where
Yeah,
I'm
for
at.
sure. Yeah, that's a perfect 2026. Get
Yeah,
on a
perfect.
festival.
Yeah.
Preferably a Danny Wimmer
That's what I was
at
going to say.
Danny Wimmer.
DYP just he just announced all the louder than life bands and everything, so we know it's
Oh
not there,
yeah.
Yeah,
unfortunately, but
it's all good.
there
You know.
there's others. He's only got like what, 6 or 7 festivals at this point now. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
we'll
Yeah.
figure something out.
But if it doesn't happen, 2026, there is also the possibility of a perfect 2027.
Yeah.
You know.
Yep.
So
But and that's the thing in the music industry, right? That goalpost is always moving. Like,
Yeah.
totally,
this would be the ideal situation. Something moves that, but that doesn't mean that goal goes away.
totally.
Hmm.
Yep, that's the name of the game, man. Resilience is a
Yeah, we
big. I'm
pivot
surprised we
our
didn't say that earlier. Resilience and patience are your best friends.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
straight up, man.
100%. Um, One of the last questions will be, we're in a fucking weird world now, right? TikTok,
Totally.
Instagram Reels, all that. What's it feel like to have to be a content creator on top of a musician and a businessman and everything else that goes into it?
Um,
Ah.
what's it feel like? Like it gets easier as you go. I kind of enjoy it.
Okay.
I kind of do. Like maybe
Yeah,
I'm
no, that's
so
fair.
weird. Maybe I'm an outlier, but I kind of enjoy it. Like it is like, it's like anything that is contributing to your success. It's like there's fun and then there's stress. You know, it's like, ooh, that video did not do that good. Ooh, you know what? Like, and then you have to be like, okay, well, where? You can
Yeah.
just say it didn't do good, but like, how are we gonna like problem solve mode? Like, how are we gonna what do we fuck up? You know, and especially with like when you're on like Instagram and TikTok, dude, you're also a consumer psychologist
Mm-hmm.
on top of being a band member.
Yeah.
Okay, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, well, maybe the video's too long, you know, and then you run around every little thing, you know, maybe the video's too long, maybe we didn't use the good part of the song, and then you go, well, maybe that video just fucking sucked, and we should try a new one, right?
Yeah.
But that's up to you to decide, you know. There's no crystal ball, you know. So it's like it's just being really involved. Like honestly, since since we started releasing music in November, I've been glued to my phone. Like I'd rather not be, but
Right.
it's just like that's the name of the game. Like I spend so much time on TikTok and Instagram looking at what's happening, what's good, like what's a good idea, stuff like that. You just have to be conscious. That's one thing you can't be under a rock.
Yeah.
No, you have
You have
to
to be
definitely.
right in the thick of it all the time to get ahead. So,
Yeah, I feel
oh
like
man,
you always got to be a student. You always got to be like a sponge, like absorbing information because trends are always changing. Um, Stuff's always like what entertains people last week, that's not going to entertain them this week. So it's figuring out like what you can do to kind of adjust to that. So
yeah,
like learning, um, yeah, I mean, being an entertainer and all that. You have to be a social media manager. You have to be a songwriter. You have to be a producer. You have to wear all these different hats, and you have to be decent at all of them.
yeah,
Um, when it
totally.
comes to like TikTok and all that, it's kind of staying on top of like, okay, what's trending? What are like trending sounds? Stuff of that nature. What gets more clicks than others? Stuff of that nature. And it's really,
Picking up
it's
new skills is really challenging sometimes, especially when it's so out of left field.
yeah,
Yeah.
And you know what? Especially in music, man, where everybody's ego is the size of Pluto. Being able to go, okay, I had the completely wrong idea here, you know, and we're suffering right now because of it. So now we have to relearn this whole skill. Even content. Like you're doing, like the music video. Like if you're doing a music video cut down all the time,
Mm-hmm.
and then you go, hang on a second. This isn't 2010. Like the music video cut downs are cool, but like where's the connection? This is a presentation, not a connection. You know,
yeah.
Yeah.
that's a realization we had. And we go, okay, is it even worth paying for this when we can really
Hmm.
just get in the rehearsal room and put a tripod up and do dumb shit because that does well for everybody,
Yeah.
you know, and then starting from square one there. It's being okay with that, being okay with starting from square one, but it's just the name of the game. It's good.
Yeah.
That's how you do it. You just got to
Yeah, that's
optimize.
one of those recent revelations that we had was like, okay, like our content, like, yeah, it's a little too polished.
Yeah, too polished.
Yeah. And
You
that
can
kind
be
of,
too polished if you
Yeah.
can
Which
believe
is an
that.
interesting
You know,
concept, isn't it?
totally.
yeah,
It's like it's like yeah, it is, but it's not. It's just like it's you just go okay. This isn't the last like realization either. It's just we're
yeah.
gonna deal with these our whole career.
It's kind of
Shit.
always
Okay.
being able to change what you're doing and pivot and just not getting stuck in a routine and just kind of always, okay, like where are we where are we lacking and how can we bring that up to the same level as everything else? It's kind of like
Yeah.
realizing that because, like you said, we do wear all these different hats, and it's being able to admit to yourself, like, oh yeah, like we're fucking up there. Let's fucking fix it.
Yeah.
Let's tighten everything up, and let's figure this out.
And I think people have a pretty like strong opinion. Especially musicians have a really strong opinion. On social media, and it's easy
Pluto.
to have one of those. You know,
Yeah.
and but it's like it's all about how you rationalize it too. Because it's one of those things. The more you do it, the better you get.
Yeah.
Like just like when you're uploading every day, regardless of what it is, when you're just getting used to it and getting used to doing these things, it gets really easy.
Yeah.
And then you have that foundation laid, and then everything else is just kind of like okay, Let's go left a little bit, right a little bit, left a little bit, right a little bit. It just becomes a part
Yeah.
of the deal. Because that's how we
Yeah.
rationalize it. It's like, because you see, some guys are like, I don't want to dance in front of the screen all day. It's like, well, I don't either. I don't blame you there, but it's like, it's just really understanding on a level of what it's supposed to be doing. It's
Yeah.
like, these people want to know who you are. We know Slipknot and Corey Taylor.
Right.
You know what I mean? We know Korn and Jonathan Davis. It's like we just want to put a name to a face, and we want to feel some type of relatability. We just want to get to know you guys. That's all it is. That's literally all it is. And when you take that mind into this, everything's a hell of a lot easier.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because then you create content that way. So
100%.
yeah,
And content will end up forming naturally too. The more tours that you do, things like that.
100%.
There's
Yeah, we're
You
pretty
don't
new
have
to
to
being
dance in your
outside.
garage anymore. I'm on
Yeah.
stage. I have that
Yeah,
shit.
totally. We're
Yeah.
only 4 shows in. We're new. We're babies, basically.
Right.
And we're just now coming to a place where we're getting some cool opportunities where we can be outside. It's not just
Yeah.
music videos and recording anymore. We're out there. We're talking to you. We're playing shows. We're meeting all these great people, and it's just using that to your advantage too. Like, I hope this gets clipped up. Or something.
That's the plan.
Awesome. It's just stuff like that. It's just being mindful of, that like your life is like something that people want to see.
Yeah.
For sure.
And you could be private. You just have to, pick.
Yeah.
What you want out there. It's just that.
Yeah.
For sure.
So
For sure. So as we kind of wrap it up here, I always give the last couple minutes to you guys. Obviously, I'll link all the socials and everything.
totally.
I've had a great time talking to you and
Yeah,
learning more
same.
about you guys, because when it got pitched to me, I was like, oh, let's check them out. And then I won't lie, my first knee jerk reaction was, there's only 2 fucking songs.
Legit.
Like,
Right.
what are we doing here?
Right.
Right.
But they're dope, and I'm excited for more. So
Cool, man.
we'll pitch it back over to you. What's the best way for people to interact with you? Where should they interact with you? Stay up to date on everything.
Instagram at dyd.ca and TikTok at Don't You Dare Music are the best. So
Yeah. That's where we're at all the time.
yeah,
Sweet.
we're always on there chatting it up. So
Yeah.
Deal.
Honestly, yeah. And you guys can see us at a show near you, hopefully soon.
oh yeah, if you are in the Roseville, Sacramento area or the Orange County area, you can come watch us play with Dark Divine and Not Enough Space. So
March 20th and 21st.
yep.
That'll be sweet. This will
That'll be
definitely be up by then, so hopefully
Okay,
we'll get
cool.
some people over there for you.
Cool.
This should be up next week, so
Awesome.
like
Awesome.
third. Yeah.
Awesome. By the time
Cool.
this is up, our 3rd single will be out. Die
That's
for
right.
me. Go
Die.
listen to that.
Yeah, Die For Me coming out next week.
Awesome.
No,
Okay, so
end of
Die
this
For Me will
week
be out.
on the
Oh, okay.
27th.
No,
On Friday.
when this podcast will come out.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So this will go out like either the 3rd or the 4th. So yeah, new single out
Oh, okay. Stream Die
already.
For Me.
Yep. Stream that. So
Stream Die For Me.
awesome. Awesome, guys. Like I said, I'm stoked for you. What I've heard so far, I'm really digging.
Thanks, man.
It's definitely, I think, like I said at the beginning, there's hints of a lot of different things, but it is still uniquely you, which I
Yeah.
think is really hard to do nowadays, and I'm pretty impressed with it. So we'll
Thank
we'll
you, man.
broadcast you guys as much as we can, and definitely looking forward to seeing you on the road.
For
Awesome,
sure.
dude.
Awesome. See you guys
All right.
later.
Thanks
Later.
a lot, man.
Thank you.
See ya.